A major misconception that I run into a lot of times in our industry is that we need to get to the perfect. We need to get to zero emissions or negative emissions. We need to get to technologies that are honestly decades away from being deployed. And in the meantime, we need to just continue to invest in those future states that are perfect. That I think is actually the worst thing we can do. We have ways to incrementally or dramatically reduce carbon today, and they need to be invested in as our bridge to where we're in a multifaceted, dramatically reduced low carbon economy of the future.
Today, you can take a cover crop, not a food crop, turn that into oil with the technologies that they use today in renewable diesel that can be turned into a liquid fuel and can be used tomorrow. And it just needs a movement to make that shift.
Governments and the private sector alike have made ambitious targets looking to the future, many of them around carbon neutrality in 2050. The problem is, first of all, that's right around the corner. Second of all, most of the solutions will take many, many years to play out. There are very few options in front of us that are offering drop-in solutions today that can reduce the carbon intensity of fuels right now. And that's what Nuseed Carinata offers.
Being a drop-in solution is a big deal because a ton of CO2 saved today is worth some multiple of tons of CO2 saved in the future. Every step forward we can take, no matter how big or how small, should be taken today. And Nuseed Carinata allows that to happen and continue to happen in a market where feedstock constraint is potentially one of the biggest barriers to continuing investment in renewable fuels.
There are very few options out there that offer us the drop-in replacement capability that Nuseed Carinata has without retrofitting all the trains, planes that we use today.
We can immediately start to make the impact. We can leverage parts of the value chain that traditionally were processing and refining fossil fuels, and we can start processing renewable oils using the same tanks, the same pipes, the same everything, just at a lower carbon intensity.
What a lot of people don't realize is we're doing that today. We are here now, and that's what's probably the most exciting part. We are already commercial and scaling those technologies with world-class partners at all those levels of innovation, farm, processing, and downstream. It's exciting to focus on the here and now of things that we are already scaling and have true impact between now and 2030.
Ultimately, the most important thing to think about with a feedstock and the end product with the fuel is the carbon intensity of that fuel. We need to make sure that we are building this industry in a way where we have a diverse set of feedstocks being part of that energy transition. And so that's why I think cover crops have a very important role to play in building out this industry.
This is a very unique opportunity because we can produce a fuel for use in the aviation industry that is more sustainable than what we're doing today. I want to cut down on soil erosion, wind erosion. I want to be able to use nutrients that are already in the soil or maybe are there excessively. I want to be able to improve the water quality in the area of agriculture, and even things like improving or creating an environment for pollinators that hasn't existed in the past. Addressing weed issues that exist that cause farmers to use different kinds of herbicides or pesticides today.
All these plants, it's just caked with root material that's holding that soil there instead of it washing on down.
In a system where we're promoting sustainable biofuel crop, we need to be sustainable from the time that we sow that seed, the passes that we take through the field, the diesel that's burned, the amount of trips across the field, and the energy and effort in that crop should be sustainable as well.
We want to be good stewards of the land. We need to make sure that we're adding value to the soil and to the atmosphere by introducing a new biofuel feedstock. We want to make sure that it's not displacing food crop land. Oilseeds are a very important source of scaling biofuel feedstocks going into the future as it becomes more mainstream.
It matters how we grow bioenergy feedstocks because we need to grow following some practices that ensure that the biofuels that are going to be produced from those feedstocks are sustainable and are actually helping decarbonize the world.
In my point of view, a certification system can help to evidence that these positive impacts are really happening and help telling the story of bioenergy also to the public. There are critical risks involved when we are growing bioenergy feedstocks, and to maintain the trust with policymakers, with the public, it is important that we can showcase how we are mitigating all the sustainability risks.
We've gone through the corn ethanol phase, and we've gone through all of the food versus fuel debates. And more it's under so much scrutiny how a feedstock is grown. So when there is a crop where I can actually harvest a crop for bioenergy without compromising soil health, that's a win-win. Not all bioenergy feedstocks are equal. It matters how we grow feedstock for bioenergy